Welcome to It's a Veggie BLT PETA, which stands for I totally suck at video games, but love to play them anyway. And today, I'm gonna do a little bit of ranting about Dragon Quest XI. I wanna, preface this saying that I liked the game. I played the whole game. I mean, I didn't complete it, I'm not that good. But I went through all 3 acts. I spent like 110 or something hours on the game. It was fun. It was a nice return to classic turn-based. It was actually my first Dragon Quest game that I played more than like an hour of. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun. But I have a gripe with it, and that is the choice of some of the localization done. As I played the Switch version, I got to actually have the Japanese voiceovers, so that was pretty cool because I got to hear what like the text was actually in Japanese versus the just getting the straight localization with the dub and the translated English text. They made a lot of changes! And this video is not about the changes from Japanese to English necessarily, not like about the little translation changes where using the different terms or even the name changes. Although let me tell you, the name changes, I don't understand why they changed a lot of them. Some of the ones they changed them from are pretty easy to localize and use names, like Hendrik was Greg. Even if you just changed it to Greg, like why to Hendrik? I don't know. So this video is like 1.5 gripes, because I did get mad at the name changes, like everyone's name changes, even small support characters, villains, all of them, and I don't know why, but they all changed, and that pissed me off because it was weird to hear it in Japanese and then equate it to the English text. But my real gripe is for the localization of some of the towns in Dragon Quest XI. Not all the towns have issues, and even the ones that do, some of them are just kind of like cute localization choices, like in Heliodor. You get like the girl who says, "It must be a tough old life," like kind of sounds British. Then there's like a rougher, tougher dude where they give him a bit of a, I don't know, maybe it's a Cockney accent or something, but they type it out so you're reading it like, I've just found out you can tell what houses you can go into by the red lines on the map. Ooh, new! Like, I get the accent choice and why you wanted to choose it, but that's awkward to read just a little bit. Ooh, new? Like, I know what they're saying, but it's still a little tough to read. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Then you get to towns like Hoto, which is based off, I mean, it's a Japanese like hot spring temples and stuff, so the localizers, I assume, just chose to do something fun and special with it by making everyone talk in haikus. Why? Why did they give themselves that challenge? They don't talk in haikus in the Japanese version, at least as far as I could hear. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. Sorry if I am, but from what I heard in the Japanese like audio, there weren't haikus. Pretty early on in the game, this guy tells you the tips. A smith without ore, bereft as a winter nest, birds long departed, ... Remember my words, find those precious seams of ore, let your hammer swing. Do not fear shortage, in time the seam will give more, like new leaves in spring. So all that was just for letting you know that, hey, go mine some ore, come back later, it'll be back. Which is fine, I guess. But there's also other, like, more story-centered things that they have to somehow tell in haiku form. And it's a little awkward to read and kind of parse together what exactly they want you to do. Creative, yes. Fun to play through, not really. Not when the whole town, like if it was one dude like that spoke like that, maybe in the temple, that's cute and creative, but it's a whole town. That was a lot of extra work that the localization team had to do. I think the worst offender is Gondolia. Gondolia is like a Venice type town. You got the river boats that you go along. It's definitely very based off Italy and Venice. And they make everyone in the town sound like a terribly cliche Italian stereotype. Like the first dude you talk to in the town. Let me apologize for my terrible Italian first, because I don't speak Italian, but Benvenuti a Gondolia. Welcome to our town. Here you can buy the famous products from all over the world. Ahaha! It's so nice to be able to say this with a clear heart again. And is all because of the luminary. We owe him everything, see? Is so nice. It is so nice to be able to say this again with a clear heart. And it is all because of the luminary. They take out the it to make them sound like Italian, which, again, sorry for that horrible Italian accent. But everyone talks like this in this town. Even just little weird ones. Like, I'm showing some on the screen. You just read it. You have to read it with a bad Italian accent in your head in order to get what they're saying and make it work. Even the little short things like, when the monsters come, I run away from Gondolia with my bambino. I feel so numb, like I lose everything in one moment. One, why did they use the word bambino? Why didn't they just say with my child? I think that's what that means. I'm assuming that's what that means. Which is the other thing. They just throw in Italian words and don't necessarily tell you what they mean. Or they throw in Italian words and then directly afterwards tell you exactly what it means. This will be my masterpiece, il mio capolavoro. So you could just say one or the other. You don't have to put in both. I get it. They're based off Italians. Like, okay, you don't have to make me read through concentrazione. You could just say I will lose concentration. The human brain is able to, like, figure out that someone's supposed to be speaking in an accent without every other freaking word being in a language that's not the main language that's being translated. Puerto Valar has a mix of we're gonna say the word in the other language and then explain what we just said to you, and no translation at all, like, hola señor, bienvenido a Puerto Valar. And then they end it with por favor, like, if I didn't know any Spanish, I wouldn't know what the hell that guy was saying. You can kind of get a gist of it, but they didn't give anything. And then they just added to the end and this, like, she just says, no señor at the end. Why? Why? Is it just because, like, hey look, is like a Spanish town, totally, hey, muy feliz. Having to read through that and not know what it means, it doesn't add anything to the game. In fact, it takes away because I'm reading it and not comprehending it versus reading straight up English and then just letting my brain do its thing and say, hey, it's a Spanish town. I can just add whatever accent I want to the game's text. There's another town, Sniffelheim, that I'm pretty sure is supposed to be very Scandinavian because they have like Vikings and mead and all of that stuff. And they don't do any of that in that town. Like, as far as I could remember or see, they didn't have other language explain the language or throw in random terms. The only thing I even really saw was the kind of blue text saying like Willkommen instead of welcome. But for some reason that town, maybe the localization team just didn't know enough Swedish or whatever language they were trying to play off of to throw in random terms there. And it works fine. I get it. Sniffelheim, or however you want to pronounce it, is a Scandinavian-esque Northern European town. Cool. They didn't need to throw in random words to make it seem like it, or they didn't need to change sentence structure to make it like a bad parody of an accent. There's another place that's super French. It's only a small place and not too many people do it, but they do the thing where they add the accent to it. So we are reading it. It's Bonjour traveler and welcome to l'Académie de Notre Matre de Médailles. And again, I can't speak French, but in this school, the daughters of the finest families in all Erdrea assemble and train to become young ladies extraordinaires. Like, they add the z in this school. Like, my brain can do that. If you tell me it's French, my brain can be like, hey, this and they, we're cool. You don't have to write it out where my brain has to read it kind of out loud in its own head in order to understand what you were going for. And then there's Nautica, and I don't know why they did this in Nautica, but the mermaids, the females, all speak in rhyme, and like the men have some rhyming and some assonance, and it sounds kind of like Dr. Seuss style, and it's okay, I guess, but again, it just makes it a lot harder to convey what they're trying to say. It's extra work on the localization team for not a lot of extra payoff, and it kind of takes you out of it when everything they say is in rhyme. So, apocalyptic incidents are happening ashore. That's why I swam here to the safety of the ocean floor. Like, that one kind of works, but when you're trying to get major story points across and you have to do it in rhyme, It works, but it's not great, and it kind of takes away some of the urgency of the things that are happening when they're just saying it in pretty rhyme. Some of the mermaids sing or talk about singing, so I can see why they wanted to put that rhyme scheme there for them. I don't know what their thought process was behind like the mer-dude people. Like this guy who's all, what am I doing? Why, I'm fishing for fish fit for a dish to put before the queen. I'm the official maker of Her Majesty's meals, don't you know? That said, I've not netted anything yet. The whiting haven't been biting lately. The world's in a bad way, so I'm having a bad day. And that's what I mean where they sound kind of Dr. Seussy. But why? Why not just have them talk like normal? The last kind of weird thing they did is the Watchers. Why stones float? No one knows. Mystery. Ancient technology. Now lost. Rumors say same technology survives. Down below. On surface. See, all caps and broken up sentences. I don't know why they did it. That's my biggest rant, I think, is that I'm not sure why the localization team decided to do some of these choices. Having listened to the Japanese, they just talk normal, from what I heard. Maybe there's some like slight regional dialects. To be fair, I know enough Japanese to be slightly dangerous, but not enough to fully comprehend a game. So that's why I'm not really trying to compare the Japanese to the English text. This is more why they would decide to do extra work and make it harder to comprehend at the same time. Throwing in a little bit of cultural references here and there, I guess it's cute, it would work, but they really threw in a lot. Like again, especially Gondolia and Puerto Valor. They threw in other languages, but then also said the same thing twice. The words they chose are kind of easy to guess, like concentrazione or whatever instead of concentration. Like, you can get it from context, but they didn't need to. They really, really didn't need to, and it just makes it harder to read. It makes it harder for your brain to process. It makes it less fun to talk to the townspeople when you have to, like, work harder to read what they're trying to say. Especially, I guess, in the dub. I didn't play it with the dub, so I don't know for sure, but from what I've heard from other people, they gave the actors in those different towns the accents. So if you hear people speaking in the accents, then your brain already knows that, hey, everybody in this town is going to speak Italian or in an Italian accent. So you don't need to have the weird spellings and throw in the other language. If you just have an accent spoken, then you can just let the text be normal and easier to read and more fun to play. I guess some people might see it as boring if they just had everything in plain English, but again, we're talking about conveying important story points. We're talking about characters you're supposed to take seriously, speaking in haikus only, or speaking like really bad Italian stereotypes, or throwing in random other languages for no reason except for the localization team to be cute. It takes away from the game instead of boosting the game up, I guess. That's just my opinion and my rant on this. Like, again, I had a lot of fun with the game. There's some other gameplay aspects I could rant about, but that's not for right now. That's not this video or this time. This is me ranting about the unnecessary localization choices that made the game harder to get through and less fun to get through. Did it stop me from playing? No, but I think it just would have been easier on the localization team for one thing, and just easier on the player to keep everything in a normal English text and let the player's brains do the work of adding accents or whatever cultural flair. That's all. It would have made it easier, more fun to play. Didn't stop me, shouldn't stop you. Go ahead, play this game. If you have any even sort of interest in turn-based RPGs or Dragon Quest or whatever, play this game. It's a great game. There's a lot of fun moments to it, and it feels good sometimes. But if I had to pick a gripe, that's my main gripe. Just don't do so much work next time, localization team. Keep it nice and easy. It'll be easier on the player, it'll be easier on you, it'll be more fun to play, and you'll be able to convey your thoughts much easier to the players and make it a more cohesive game. If you disagree, let me know. That's okay. Disagreeing is cool. Maybe you loved the accents. Maybe they made your day. That's great. Not me. But If you're gonna play this game, definitely play the Switch version because you get some extra bonus like scenes and chapters, and you get a few other quality of life improvements. You also get the choice of the Japanese dub or the English dub, and the choice for the like MIDI music or an actual symphonic music background, and man, that makes a big difference. So definitely play the Switch version if you can. That's really all I wanted to rant about today, is just the poor localization choices. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad the localization team was really into it and had fun with it, but it just did not float my boat. Okay, rant is over. Hopefully next video I make will be something more positive. I don't know. I just wanted to get my thoughts out on this. I've been thinking about it for a while now, and I'm like, you know what? Today's the day. I'm gonna put this video out, and I'm gonna rant about the weird localization choices for Dragon Quest XI. So hopefully you enjoyed or agreed or disagreed and are gonna write a whole essay on why it is amazing that they speak like that in Gondolia. I don't know, sure, I'd read it. If you write that essay in the comments, let me know. I'm curious to how many people actually liked it and how many people agree with me that it was kind of a awkward way to phrase everything. Since I really don't know how to end videos, I'm just gonna say that's the end. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time I put something out. It's a veggie BLT pita! I totally suck at video games, but love to play them anyway.
Now then, laddie.